Time now for a check of what's making the front covers of the French newspapers this Wednesday.
Hello, Tom.
Hi, Elena. Joining us from the press review team. Tell us, what have you got in store for us today? We're looking at Libération first, is that right?
Yes, we're looking at the Euro crisis making most of France's front pages today after, of course, Ireland's status was downgraded to junk last night. On the front page of Libération, they've got who's after the Euro's blood. What they're saying really is that the collapse of the single currency could be just months away as the all the measures that the EU's ministers have attempted to take to stem the collapse of economy after economy just they don't seem to be working. They say the same scenario repeats itself ad nauseum as ratings agencies downgrade Europe's economies and their debt interest payments soar. Libération's editorial inside says the only way they can deal with this is with a more federal economic policy. They're talking about a European finance ministry based in Brussels that would decide economic policy on a European level. They say that might seem dramatic, but it's just the only way because everything they've tried before has failed. Apparently, President Sarkozy is also convinced that that's what needs to be done. They're blaming Germany with quite harsh language inside Libération, saying that they're the ones who are opposing more integration, and also they're the ones that have forced really tough terms on countries like Greece, Portugal and Ireland with those bailouts, insisting on high interest rates and short durations for those loans. The paper says it's time for Europe's governments to demonstrate that they are more powerful than the financial markets and take some measures to prove it.
So that's Libération on the left. What are the other papers saying on that story?
Well, actually, the more right-wing business paper, Les Echos, has the same point of view. They're also arguing that when the euro was introduced, they didn't quite realise that it would make countries more dependent on debt and less able to react to the challenges posed by upcoming economies like China. And the only way they can react to those challenges is through more economic unification. They're also arguing for this European finance ministry, as is Le Figaro, who have on their front page the race against time to save the euro. They're saying exactly the same thing, really. All the measures that have been taken so far are useless.
Rare consensus there across the spectrum of opinion there in the French press. So another big topic, we've been talking about this all day in the news as well, is France's involvement in foreign conflicts, most notably Libya and Afghanistan. That's presumably on the front covers as well.
It's the cost that the newspapers are really worried about today of those conflicts. Le Monde's headline says France no longer has the military means to match up to its political ambitions. The business paper La Tribune leads on the bill for war is hard to swallow. They say France's involvement in Afghanistan alone is costing it 470 million euros a year. And here in La Croix, they've got what wars cost on the front page. They're talking about the human as well as the financial cost of these wars. France's soldiers, of course, are in the national spotlight tomorrow. It's the 14th of July, Bastille Day. They have their big parade down the Champs-Élysées, and they interview a number of soldiers returning from Afghanistan in the piece, some of whom are suing the French army either for not having given them the psychological support that they needed when they were traumatised by the war, or having sent them into war in the first place without enough body armour and protection, they say. So they say it's the army's negligence that's responsible for some of the injuries they've suffered. They've got some very moving, sad stories in there of soldiers who've been brain damaged and so on. So La Croix, they're reminding people of the human cost of war.
Devastating cost indeed. On a lighter note, Le Parisien has a story that sports fans are going to be interested to read about.
Yes, they're getting very excited about the French women's football team. Now, they face the US in the World Cup semi-final in Germany today. Now, Le Parisien says the women's team might be able to reconcile the French to the beautiful game after their men's team's disastrous performance in last year's World Cup. These women players are virtually unknown in France, but that doesn't stop Le Parisien running an article about why the public love them, including saying how they don't try to cheat, their technique is better than the men's, and they come across as ordinary and down to earth, perhaps not hard when most of them don't earn actually enough money to make a living from football.
Very quickly, a happy marriage or not for Monaco's Prince Albert and his new princess?
Well, this is in Le Figaro. You might remember that before they got married last week, there were rumours saying that she'd tried to run away. And she did, of course, go through with that wedding, but didn't look too happy. Now, according to Le Figaro, they're on honeymoon together in South Africa, but staying in separate hotels. And the paparazzi photographers following them around can't get one picture of her smiling. So, looking a bit tragic, Le Figaro says, in classic gossip tradition. They quote some anonymous friends saying that she can't get over the fact that he apparently fathered another illegitimate child while they were together.
All right, Elena Casas, thank you very much indeed for that.